Hello guys, I'm Rashdeep. Today we are going to revise chapter number 7 of CA Interstrategic Management, that is Organization and Strategic Leadership. And revision notes of this particular chapter is available in the description box, so you can go and download it over there. And full video of this chapter is there in my channel, that is channel called Accounting Secrets. So go and watch full video if you haven't watched it, and if you have not studied once also, like this chapter, if you not studied this chapter once, then you can watch it over there and you can come for this revision. And also please subscribe the channel, and also please don't forget to subscribe CA Dreams channel. Okay, in this chapter, what are the different kind of topics covered? Let's see. First is we are going to learn the relationship between strategy implementation and organizational structure. That is relationship between strategy implementation and organization structure. Next, we are going to see some structures, different kind of structures. Simple structure, functional structure, divisional structure, multi-divisional structure, SBU, matrix structure, network structure, and org structure. Later, we are going to see strategic leadership and also strategic supportive culture, that is corporate culture, and difference between entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. Okay, first let us go to our first topic, that is relationship between strategy implementation and organization structure. First, whether to implement a strategy, changing the organizational structure is required. Yes, changing the organizational structure is required to implement a new strategy in the organization, because new strategy will ask some different things in an organization, some different flow of authority, flow of responsibility, etc. First, we have to understand what exactly organization structure means. Organization structure is nothing but it is the way in which a company organizes its environment, internal environment. It says how the authority flows and how the responsibility goes back. So all these will be there in organizational structure. So what exactly strategy implementation? Strategy implementation is nothing but your formulated strategy will be given a practical existence. That is, you are going to put it in course of action in your organization. You are going to put it in action, your strategy formulated strategies into action, that will be called as strategy implementation. Okay. A competitive advantage is created when there is a proper match between strategy and strategy structure. So there should, to get a competitive advantage, there should be match between strategy and organization structure. Organization structure is the company's formal configuration. That is, it is a formal setting, not an informal. It will be form of written or documented kind of thing of its intended roles, procedures, governance mechanism, authority, and decision making processes. All these they will make sure that happens in a early thought way, that is in a planned way. So that will be known as organizational structure. According to Chandler, this Chandler, he is not a Friends Chandler, he is strategist. According to Chandler, changes in the strategy lead to change in the organization structure. So what he says, whenever organization strategy changes, organization structure should also change to implement that particular strategy. He says structure follows strategy. Structure should be designed or redesigned. If it's new, you should design. If the structure is already exist and if you want to bring certain changes, you have to redesign the structure to facilitate the strategic pursuit of the firm, and therefore structure should follow strategy. He says, see, this is what he says. You formulated the new strategy. Later, because of that new formulated strategy, it might ask some changes in the administration department. It will raise some administrative problems, because of which organization performance declines. So what you have to do? you have to formulate a new organization structure, and later organization structure automatically improves. As companies formulate new strategy, increase in size, or change in their level of diversification, new organization structure may be required. So whenever the firm increases its size, or whenever the firm gets on diversification, it is required to go, complexity will increase inside the firm. So because of which they go for some different next level organization structures. The first level organization structure is simple structure. In this, what happens, in this, there will be one owner. Under him, there will be some subordinates. These are not specialized subordinates. Here, owner or manager will give guidance directly to the subordinates, and these subordinates will directly give responsibility to this particular owner, and communication will be rapid in this case, because there is no mediator, or there is no other middle managers between owner and sales, some subordinates, and because of which there is a possibility of enter into a new product in a very rapid way. Because in large organization, it should go from business functional level to business level to corporate, and corporate people should decide, and later it should come back in the same manner. Here that do not happen. Here salesperson will say directly to the manager, and manager, if he thoughts he should bring those changes, he will bring those changes. Simple organization structure is most appropriate for companies that follow a single business strategy. That is, it has only single business. It's not a multi-business organization, and offers a single line of products in a single geographic market. In simple, for a small organizations, a simple structure is organization form in which the owner manager makes all the major decision. Who makes all the major decision in simple structure? Owner or manager. See, this might be your MCQ. Directly, and monitors all the activities directly by himself, while the company staff merely serves as an executors. Those are what is the duty of the other company staff? To execute the things what is said by the manager or owner. In simple structure, communication is frequent and direct, because the level is very small. There is no middle people here, and new product tend to be introduced to the market quickly, because as communication takes place in a rapid way, the innovation also takes place in a rapid way, which can result in a competitive advantage. To coordinate more complex organization function, companies should abandon the simple structure in favor of the functional structure. So if an organization has some complex functions, then simple structure is not the best solution. Functional structure, the company should go for functional structure. Okay, now let us see what are the functional structure. Functional structure, again, this is also for the same kind of organization, but which operates in a huge manner. That is for some big companies. Whereas here what happens, here there will be one CEO. He divides, here the business will be single, not multi-business. Business will be single, product will be single, and geographical location it might differ, but usually it will be also single, but the area of operation is more. Here what he does is, CEO, he divide whole organization function into different kind of function: purchasing, procurement, production, sales, marketing, research and development, human resource. He divides the whole organization function into these kind of broad functions, and he appoint particular functional managers to those particular functions, specialized managers. So the work of that particular manager is to look after that particular function. Sales manager, work of the sales. Production manager, work of the production. This will be known as functional structure. Functional structure groups tasks and activity by business function, such as production or operation, marketing, finance, accounting, research and development, and management information system. Beside being simple and inexpensive, a functional structure also promotes specialization of labor, because what is the duty of research and development team? Only the research and development. What is the duty of production team? Only the production. What is the duty of marketing team? Only the marketing. So it will lead to the specialization in an organization. And also it is inexpensive because he have to appoint some 5 to 6 managers. He do not want to appoint some business level manager also, 5 to 6 managers. But when you compare to the simple structure, it is costly. But when you compare to the other structure, it will be inexpensive, and minimizes the need for an elaborate control system and allows rapid decision making. And here control, whole organization control will be with the CEO, but he do not interact with the staff directly, whereas managers will report to him. Next is a divisional structure. The divisional structure can be organized in 1 or 4 ways. Here what happens is, in divisional structure, your whole organization is divided into different divisions based on some basis, like product. This kind of product is one division, this kind of product is one division, or based on geographical area. Your southern market is one division, northern market is one division, central market is one division, or by product or service, or by customer. These kind of particular price sensitive customer are one division, price insensitive customers are one division, and also by process. You divide a whole organization based on these divisions, and here you appoint a divisional manager to each division, and inside that division there will be different function. Again, let us assume some Reliance. It divides based on the divisions based on the product or service. Trends, footprint, smart. Let us assume 3 divisions. Here again there will be purchase manager, purchasing department, production department, marketing department, so human resources department, like this. And here again also. So here there will be some functional managers below those divisional managers. So division structure can be organized in one of the 4 ways. It can be based on geographical area, product or service, by customer, or by process. With divisional structure, functional activities are performed both centrally and in each division separately. So here functions here, below managing director there will be some corporate production manager, corporate HR, corporate research and development, corporate planning, like this. Central functional managers will be there. Also below the division, here in this diagram, cosmetics, medicine, garments and footwear, below those divisions also there will be functional managers. So functional managers will be in 2 levels, one centrally, that is corporate managers, and one below those divisional managers. Accountability is clear, that is here these particular divisions accountability is of those particular divisional manager. In functional level, you can't analyze which function is profitable, because all are concentrating on one single product or one single division. You can't concentrate on a particular, you can't get to know how much is the profit from that particular function. But here it will not happen like that, because here the division will be analyzed to understand how much profit is obtained from that particular division, because of which accountability is clear. Division manager can be held responsible for sale and profit levels. Divisional structure is costly because here they have to appoint corporate functional managers, later again here divisional managers, again below that functional managers. So here this is costly. Next is multi-divisional structure. Multi-divisional structure is nothing but same as your divisional structure only, but the thing is, here what happens is, here this managing director will hold the whole organization control centrally. But here what happens is, here they go for controlling the organization through only financial matters. They do not look into day-to-day business activities. This will be called as multi-divisional or M-form. And in SB also same thing happens, but their division is replaced with the strategic business unit. See, multi-divisional structure is composed of operating divisions, which each division represents a separate business to which the top corporate officer delegate responsibility for day-to-day operation and business unit strategy to divisional managers. Who is responsible for day-to-day business activities? Divisional manager. And he will be, allotted with some power to take a decision by his own towards his particular division. But in divisional structure, it will not happen. All the decisions should go from managing director or corporate people. The corporate office is responsible for formulating and implementing overall corporate strategy. That is for the whole corporate, not for the particular division, and manage divisions through strategic and financial control. They hold only two control. One strategic, next one is financial control. Next is a strategic business unit structure, SBU structure. What exactly SBU means? SBU means that is a group of particular businesses which uses its own mission, its own goal, its own objective, and which is not relating to the particular business in which the particular organization operates. In simple, it is separate itself. For example, if you take Reliance, Jio, Petroleum, Garment. So Jio, it is not related to petroleum, and Garments is not related to petroleum or Jio, Telecom. So all these things will be SBUs. Jio is one SBU, Petroleum is one SBU, Garment is one SBU. See, an SBU is a grouping of related business, that is only related business, which is amenable to composite planning treatment. So for that group, they will form a single strategy. Whole organization strategy will not be applicable to that particular group. A single strategy will be applicable. As per this concept, a multi-business enterprise groups its multitude of business into few distinct business in a scientific way, based on geographical, again, based on the product, based on service, based on customer, etc. The SBU structure is composed of operating units where each unit represents a separate business to which the top corporate officers delegate responsibility for day-to-day operation and business unit strategy to its manager. In multi-business, it is for the divisional manager, here for the business manager. The SBU structure groups similar product into strategic business unit and delegates authority and responsibility for each unit to a senior executive who reports directly to the CEO. So here the business manager, that SBU manager, will be having all the rights of that particular business, and he will be responsible, he will be reportable only to the CEO. A SBU structure consists of at least 3 levels. One is CEO, next is business level managers, corporate managers, next is SBU managers. Below that, again different divisions, below divisions, again functional level managers. At least 3 levels, it might go more and more. With the corporate headquarters at the top, SBU groups at the second level, and division grouped by a relatedness with each SBU at the third. So here what you will do, you take different divisions and you group them into related things, and the related divisions will be formulated as one separate business, and for that separate business you will employ particular manager who is responsible for that particular business, all the decisions, and he will control through only financial and strategic thing, and that too strategic is nothing but for the whole organization, not for that particular business, and he will be reportable to the corporate people, that is CEO or corporate managers. Okay, now comes matrix structure. Matrix structure is nothing but it is combination of functional structure as well as product structure, that is project. See, in a matrix structure, function and product form are combined simultaneously at the same level of the organization. That see, here project is there, also here function is there. So it is combination of projects or function plus project or product plus function. Employees have two superiors, that is one product manager as well as his particular functional manager, a product or functional manager and functional manager. A matrix structure is the most complex of all design because it depends upon the both vertical and horizontal flow of authority. See, normal what used to happen, functional manager, he gives some orders, subordinates will follow it. Divisional manager give it to some functional manager, and functional manager to subordinates. The same thing happens, but here the authority will flow horizontally as well as vertically. How? Functions, organization is dependent based on function, and they will make different projects. For example, it will be in software companies or infrastructure companies. For example, if you take an infrastructure company, one is of the, let us assume one project is of road construction, another is of a building construction. Okay, now they have one project to construct the road. Here for this road, they allot some functional people. They allot some functional people, like they allot 2 production department people, 2 human resource people, 2 marketing people, 2 R&D people. So their work is only towards this road construction thing. They are not required to look after all the functions, all the projects. Their responsibility is only towards this road construction. In the same manner, building. For building, they provide some finance people, some production people, some marketing people, some research and development people, like this. So those people are responsible for their superior functional manager. That is, production people are responsible for production manager, finance people, finance manager, marketing people, marketing manager, and research and development people, research and development manager. And also they are responsible for the project manager in which they are working. They are also responsible for the manager who looks after the road construction activity. This is all about matrix structure. Now comes the network structure. In simple, network structure is not at all structure. It is unorganized structure, non-structure. Because here what happens is, organization will be in the center. They outsource all the activities: finance, marketing, R&D, some other HR. Here what happens is, these people will outsource this to one firm, one chartered accountant firm, let us assume, this to some marketing firm, this to some research and development firm, this to some HR firm, and they will connect them to the connect them through the network. That is, they connect, use that practically, physically these do not exist inside the organization, but through the network they are working for the organization. This will be called as network structure. The network structure is an example of what could be termed as a non-structure by its virtual elimination of in-house business. That is, in a certain business, HR department, finance department, production department, only for that company. This is against that. Many activities are outsourced. Instead of having a salaried employees, organization may contract with people for a specific project or a length of time. That is HR. The organization is in effect only a shell with a small headquarters, that is center, acting as a broker. That is, they bring all the resources together, outsourced resources together in a single network. Your Amazon, your Airtel, all these people work in this manner. Call center will be provided to some other call center guys. Some network maintenance will be outsourced to some network maintenance guys, like this. And these are electronically connected to some completely owned divisions, partially owned subsidiaries, and other independent organizations. This ultimately form the network organization is a series of independent firms or a business units. That is, those are not related to your particular center. There might be your subordinates, there might be your partially owned subordinates, fully owned subordinates, or other independent organizations linked through a common system that design, produce, and markets a product or service. Next comes the hourglass structure. Hourglass structure is nothing but, here what he says is, your organization structure should look after in the form of hourglass. Huge in the beginning, that is top level managers, thin, narrow in the center, that is your business level managers, and wide again in the lower level. Which means, because of technological changes, what is happening is, now low line managers, that is supervisors or functional level managers, or the people who comes under business managers, business level managers, can directly communicate to the top managers, because of which now the scope and work of a business level manager or middle level manager is reduced. So what he says, don't invest more on middle level managers, keep some middle level managers. Make sure that by using the technology, your lower level managers directly are in contact with the corporate level managers. Hourglass organization structure consists of 3 layers. with a constricted middle layer, top, middle and bottom. The structure has a short and narrow middle management level. The role played by the middle management is diminishing as the tasks performed by them are increasingly being replaced by the technological tools. Information technology links the top and bottom levels in the organization, taking away many tasks that are performed by the middle level managers. For example, in ERP system, what these first level supervisors do, the work will be reflected in the systems of the chief people. Earlier, when ERP system was not there, this will be supervised by the middle level manager, and middle level managers are reportable to the superiors, top level managers. Now, top level managers itself can control the first level supervisors. So, because of technology, now the work of these middle level managers got decreased, scope of middle level managers got decreased. And it is opposite to the old system. In old system, business level managers or middle level managers, they are well specialized only for that particular thing. But here what he says, the middle level managers are so less, so he do not want specialized managers. The organization do not want specialized manager. Here, what organization expect is those middle level manager are multifunctional manager. They can do different kind of function. They are not limited to the particular specialized thing. The manager in the org structure are generalist, that is general, and perform wide variety of tasks, not a particular task. All these are some organization structure. Now let's see about strategic leadership. A strategic leader is a change agent. Who is strategic leader? He is a change agent who initiates strategic changes in the organization and ensure that change is successfully implemented. So who is the strategic leader? Strategic leader is a change agent who initiates some changes in the organization, and he makes sure that those changes are successfully implemented in an organization. Strategic leadership sets the firm direction by developing and communicating vision of future, formulate strategies in the light of internal and external environment, bring out the changes required to implement strategy, and inspire the staff to contribute to the strategy execution. So, a strategic leadership sets the firm direction by what? By developing and communicating vision of future. They will, what exactly strategic leadership does? It will make sure that company's strategic vision and future is developed, and also they communicate it to the subordinates, and they think of what are the requirements to implement those strategies, and also they will make sure that they inspire those staff to help in implementing the particular strategy. A manager as a strategic leader has to play many strategic leadership roles. So a manager has to play many strategic roles. What are those? To execute a good strategy, manager has to play 5 leadership roles. What are those? Staying on the top of what is happening. That is, he should be up to date. He should be knowing all the internal as well as external matters happening in the organization and organization, industry and environment. Closely monitor the progress. He should monitor the progress of organization as well as industry, and he should be in the position to solve the issues if there is any issues in an organization, and also he should be in the position to learn from those obstacles what he is facing in the while implementing strategy. Formulating a culture of esprit de corps, that is increasing the spirit in an organization, team spirit in an organization, keeping the organization responsive to the changing condition. This is one of the major role every manager should play as a leader. Exercising ethical leadership and insisting that the company conduct its affairs like a model corporate citizen. So you should make sure that everything what company does is some model kind of thing for all the organization, for their rivals, and you should make sure that organization is going in an ethical manner. Pushing corrective action to improve strategy execution and overall strategic performance. So you should make sure that all the corrective actions are taken place to implement the strategy, or some changes are done to the implemented strategy. He has several responsibilities. What are there? To make a strategic decision, who is the responsible? Strategic leader. Formulating policies and action plans. ensuring effective communication in the organization, managing human capital. This is very, very important. You should make sure that all the human resources motivated. Managing changes in the organization, creating and sustaining strong corporate culture, sustaining high performance over time. There are two approaches of leadership. What are those? Transformational leadership and transactional leadership. In transformational leadership, he gets the work done from his subordinates by motivating them, by taking them into consideration in formulating the strategy or executing the strategy. It is not by the way of punishing, or it is not by giving a reward in a way of pay, etc. Here he motivates employees to take part in the organization. Which kind of organization takes place this kind of leadership style? One is the new organization which came now, because they want some more and more people to implement strategies, and also some organization which is in decline stage. So if it want to come back to the normal, all this support from all people are required. What exactly transactional leadership does? It sum up in the kind of way of books. He do not want to take organization to other level. He just want to improve the processes in the organization. He will be using his authority towards his subordinates to get the things done. Here he will give some punishment for a wrong work, and he also pay more, and he increases the status of those subordinates if they do the work properly or in an extraordinary manner. Here every mature organization will follow this, because if every employee come up with the new ideas, and if the organization leave them free, then it is difficult to get the work done from them. Okay, now let us see strategy supportive culture. Culture is nothing but its company's value, practices followed from many years, tradition, etc. Corporate culture refers to the company's value, beliefs, business principles, tradition, way of operating, and internal working environment. This is this is the meaning of corporate culture. For example, some organization might treat customer first. They might be in any situation, but the need of them is to make sure that customers are happy with their product. Or some will be like safety of employees. They might come up with certain rules, certain practices, that you should wear the helmet, you should wear the jacket, some different kind of tradition, some different kind of practices. This will be known as corporate culture. Okay, from where does the corporate culture emerge? The company's culture is manifested in the values of the business principle. So business principle is the basic source for the corporate culture, and its ethical standards and official policies, its stakeholder relationship in the traditions of the organization maintains in its supervisory practices and employees' attitude and behavior. Okay, now comes whether culture is ally or obstacle to strategy execution, whether it is good or bad to strategy execution. Again, here the answer is same. If the culture is good, then it is very good to execute the strategy, because people in the organization are working in a so good environment, so good culture, so it will be very easy to execute. But again, if the culture is not that good, then it will be obviously obstacle to implement the strategy. Role of culture in strategy execution. Strong culture promotes a good strategy execution when there is a fit, and impairs execution when there is a negligible fit. So what is the role of strategy culture? Culture checks whether that strategy is good or not. If it's good, it will implement in an organization very easily. Organization will implement that particular strategy in an organization very easily. If it's not good, or if it's not fit for a particular organization or particular organization culture, then they will neglect that particular strategy. Perils of strategic culture conflict. When a company's culture is out of sync with what is needed for a strategic success, the culture has to be changed rapidly as can be managed. So if the culture and strategy is not matching, if the culture and strategy is not matching, for example, your culture example is 1 to 2 is the lunch break. No one should work in this break. But now your new strategy says you have to take lunch break for half an hour and you have to work for other half an hour. Now this strategy and this culture gets conflicted. At this situation, what you should do? You should change either culture. It is very difficult to change, so you can go for changing the strategy. While correcting the strategy culture, conflict can occasionally mean revamping strategy to produce the cultural fit. So you will make sure that you will formulate a new strategy which is helpful, which will be matching with the corporate culture. Creating a strong fit between strategy and culture. It is the strategy maker's responsibility to select a strategy compatible with the sacred or unchangeable part of prevailing corporate culture. So it is the responsibility of the strategic manager, that is to make sure that whatever the new strategy he is bringing will not be against some sacred, some unchangeable corporate culture. Okay. Now our last topic is entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. Who is entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is nothing but the person who brings some idea of new business, who brings all the resources together, and who will start the business and who will take the responsibility of that particular business. He will be entrepreneur. Who is entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is nothing but the person who, the entrepreneur is an entrepreneur who works for a particular organization, who works within a boundary of an organization. So he will be the employee of some organization. Is an entrepreneur who will be the employee of particular organization. See, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the attempt to create a value through recognition of the business opportunity. You will recognize the business opportunity and the management of risk, taking appropriate to opportunity. So you will take the risk which is appropriate to the particular business opportunity, and through management skills to mobilize finance, human, material resources. That is, you will bring 4 M's together: men, money, material, and machine. So entrepreneur is the person who looks at the business opportunity, who will take the certain risk towards that business opportunity, and who brings all the 4 M's together with his managerial skills to create an enterprise. He will be called as entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship, that will be called as entrepreneurship. Who will be the entrepreneur? The person who does all these activities. A person who preserves the business idea and takes the step to implement the ideas is known as entrepreneur. Okay. An entrepreneur is one who initiates and innovates a new concept, who will come up with a new concept, recognize and utilize the opportunity. He will recognize whatever the business opportunities are there, and he will make sure that he will utilize those opportunities to obtain is to make sure that to satisfy the organization objective. Arrange and coordinate resources, as I already said, 4 M's. Faces risk and uncertainties, because he is the owner of the business, he should face the risk. Establishes a startup company, adds value to the product or service, takes decision to make the product or service a profitable one, is responsible for profit or losses of the company. He will be entrepreneur. Who is entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is nothing but an entrepreneur who operates within the boundaries of an organization. So he will entrepreneur who will be the employee of some organization. He will be known as the entrepreneur. In some big organization, what they do, they will take out these entrepreneur with a huge mind, with a huge business plans. They will make them as a employees by paying them so much, package or amount, and they will give the right to them. They will give the power to those entrepreneurs to bring some changes in the organization or to bring some new things in the organization. So finally, who will gain from it? Company. The existing company will gain. In entrepreneurship, what happens? In entrepreneurship, the new company itself comes. Here, entrepreneur will work under an existing company. He is an employee of a large organization who is vested with the authority of initiating creativity and innovation in the company's product or service and project, redesigning the process, workflows and systems. So he will be vested with the authority for all these things. It has now become a trend that large corporations appoint entrepreneur within the organization to bring the operational excellence and gain competitive edge in the market. So here we are done with our 7th chapter, which is organization and strategic leadership. So please don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well as to subscribe to Accounting Secrets. Thank you.